Hi, this is Ed in San Diego, and welcome back to Global TV Talk Show. As you can see, our logo today is promoting our new magazine, online, virtual, and frequent. And it's going to focus in on global HR. That means major companies who have HR across borders and cultures, and time zones, and across space, across industries, and across silos. Global HR News will cover what's going on in different areas and different topics. And this broadcast today with Stephen Howard, author of the best-selling and award-winning book called Humany, Humony. It's about Humany leadership, and you could find out more, of course, at your own speed at humanyleadership.com. And of course, tune in to our program coming up in just a few minutes with Stephen Howard. We're going to be talking about the following items in about 20 minutes or so. What's it take to be a great leader? Amongst other things, you need to communicate. You need to do this. You need to speak. And so what does it take? And what does it really mean? Stephen's going to give us his insight. What are the two most important communication skills for a corporate leader today in this difficult environment between in-office and remote and all of that going on in generational change? Also, I'm going to ask him about high impact questions. Again, this is about communicating and speaking. So what questions, high impact, should I ask Stephen today? I'm going to figure that out. Anyway, we're going to have a discussion about that in a few minutes. And he sent me a note that says everyone knows how to ask questions and listen, right? We do it all the time. Why do you think managers and leaders are ineffective at asking questions and listening? That's critical listening. And what about feedback? So we're going to be right back with Stephen Howard. It's going to be a fast-paced, enlightening day with Stephen Howard on Global TV Talk Show featuring the new magazine, Global HR News. We'll be back. Okay, we're back on Global HR News, a new magazine, as I just mentioned, will be coming out. It's going to be virtual, and it's all about the world of corporate people leadership and coaching and development, the new world. Global HR News was a print magazine about 20 years ago, and it was very successful. It was glossy, 8.5 by 11, and it was a big hit at the SHRM international meetings where I had a booth and passed things out. Everybody wanted that magazine. So I'm happy to do it again. And here's Stephen Howard. He's in Mexico City. And Stephen, I was just introducing the idea of humanyleadership.com in the warm-up, which you'll see later. So just in case somebody missed the past 100 broadcasts that we've done together, tell us about humanyleadership.com.
Well, humany, Humony, is a word I created, Ed, combining humanity, and harmony. Thinking about how leadership changed during the pandemic, and more importantly, how it needs to change coming out of the pandemic, particularly leadership mindsets. And so the humany leadership mindset is about creating workplaces of equality, of engagement, of well-being, and most importantly, harmony. And some people laugh when I talk about harmony in the workplace, but it is achievable, and it will result in higher employee engagement and reduce employee attrition, two of the most important things that your HR readers want to read about and hear about.
So we're going to focus now for a few minutes on the idea of, well, here we are speaking, but on the idea of leaders, corporate leaders. Are corporate leaders trained in speaking? I know not necessarily. You would think it's a no-brainer that people who are in leadership positions within a workplace environment have media training, but not true, is it?
It's not true. I mean, and part of that's the mindset change. I mean, the mindset that a leader is a senior executive, in the C-suite, a vice president or something like that is a leader. Well, that's the wrong mindset. A leader is anybody who leads people. So that includes a frontline supervisor, a team leader, somebody maybe has 3 people that they're leading, or a department head with 30 people or something like that. And these are the people who need leadership communication skills training, including media training, but more importantly, just being able to communicate with the people they lead.
So people in a leadership role, whether it's a line manager or a direct report situation or a Fortune 50 corporate suite, do great leaders need to be, or is it a prerequisite that a leader has to be a communicator, learn how to be media ready?
A communicator, yes. An orator, not necessarily. You don't need to be Winston Churchill or Ronald Reagan or Barack Obama or Martin Luther King Jr. or anybody like that. I mean, in the C-suite, yeah, it certainly helps because you have bigger and larger audiences. But one of the most important things about communication, Ed, is not just the message that you're communicating, what you want to say, but is ensuring that that message is heard. And when you've got great orators, they rely on other things and other people to make sure that their message is heard. Line managers, factory managers, frontline managers, no, they need to be communicators, but not great orators.
Okay, let's nail down here for the audience who are multinational and come from different cultures, and their reality is not mine, perhaps, and that creates a communications gap in a lot of cases. So, what are the two most important skills for leaders when it comes to communicating, speaking?
I wish more people asked that question, Ed, because it's really hits the nail on the head, and it's probably not what most people think when they think about communicating. The two most important skills are listening and asking great questions, and what I call masterful listening and masterful questioning. And we all have 2 ears and one mouth, and as leaders, we're going to learn a whole lot more when we listen. We use our mouth to ask questions more than talk about what we think, and then listen with those ears, and most importantly, listen to what's not being said, particularly in a room full of 8, 9, 10 people, because there's a lot of things people are afraid to say in a group setting. So find out what people aren't telling you if you're a leader.
So the way some people ask questions or give feedback says a lot about, well, first of all, their composure, but also about their background and their education in listening and, well, learning, absorbing, and then talking about it in a sensical manner. Uh, I'm getting a I'm getting wound up in my tongues here, but it seems that a lot of people who are intelligent don't know how to talk, don't know how to encapsulate what they just heard and then put it to work almost immediately in a communication of some kind.
Yeah, it's because we're time poor, Ed. And you used a word in there in the middle of what you were saying there, which I think is so critical, and that's absorbing. Absorbing what you hear, inculcating it, figure out, does it make sense? So again, what's missing from what you're hearing, what's missing from, what are you saying, and people not grasping, people not grabbing. But so here's one of the things about listening is that, us old school people, we've been, we listen for facts and figures. The new mindset of listening and leadership is we need to listen for feelings too. I want to know, I want to listen so carefully. Do I understand? Does that person really believe what they're telling me? Or are they just blowing smoke at me? Are they just telling me something because they think that's what I want to hear as their leader? Or do they have a perspective that I haven't thought of? Are they jarring something in my brain? And also, when we're implementing something and they ask questions or they comment on something, I want to listen for where are their concerns, where are their worries, or where are their buy-in? Are they going to be passionate about this? Are they going to become my evangelist and make this project happen because they think it's just a wonderful opportunity for them, for the department, for the company, for whatever. So we need to listen beyond just facts and figures.
So in law school, now I never went to law school. I wasn't smart enough at the time, but I know people who are and were, and they're trained. Lawyers are trained on listening and then getting a question
Yeah.
out of their mouth and at the right time and place. So, what are high impact questions from your view?
High impact questions is, there's three kinds of questions. There's close ended, which is just like questions you can answer with one or two words, often yes or no, but it could be like, hey, what time are we meeting tomorrow? 10:30. That's a close ended question, close ended response. Open ended, you get a couple sentences out of people to get a bit more depth of information. A high impact question is a question that makes people think, speculate, evaluate, analyze. And they really get you into the depth of information and really get to understand what people think. For instance, I often ask people in HR areas or training and learning and development areas, what are your three biggest challenges about your leadership bench strength in your organization? So if I just ask them something like, hey, what are your leadership bench strength challenges today? They'll give me, top of mind, just one or two things. If I ask them, what are your three biggest challenges? I shut up and I pause and I let them think. I let them evaluate, well, what are the top three? Which ones do I want to share with him, analyze it, and maybe even speculate on one or two of them. So I get depth of information, and then I'm able to create a proposition or proposal to them that will meet their needs to give them solutions for those three biggest challenges rather than just one challenge that they might have, but which often is, I don't have a training budget. And then people go in and give them a low cost option because they're trying to sell on price. Whereas I'll go in, if I understand their three biggest challenges, I can sell on value and on meeting their specific needs.
So, once again, managers, mid level, and even some top level, they're not necessarily trained in PR and communication skills. They know their job, of course, and that's why they got to where they are. And they won the trust of somebody above them at one time that opened those doors. But now in today's world and what's coming, particularly because of Gen Z, and they're so tuned in to communicating, not verbally, but by their fingers, how can you, as a leader, as a coach, executive coach, leadership coach, inform the people with the bucks and decision-making power that they must learn to have media skills and teach it in the company?
The best way is to show the bad examples. Unfortunately, there's so many of them that you can share with them and say, see what happened to this organization. The great video going around, I believe it's TikTok these days or Instagram about this woman being fired. And it's a 9-minute video that she recorded, and the HR person on the other end of the line can't answer any of her questions, and she keeps saying, why isn't my supervisor on this call? Why is it you giving me this information? And the supervisor probably isn't very well trained, but obviously that HR person wasn't very well trained. And these things are happening in real life. People are recording incidents, they're recording conversations, and they're making people look foolish. So people need to understand the power of media, the power of social media, the power of video, the importance of sound bites, of being able to encapsulate your message in a small phrase that gets people's attention and makes them pause to listen to the longer phrases that you want to communicate.
So we're talking with Stephen Howard, author of Humany Leadership, and the business coach, humanyleadership.com. And you could find Stephen on LinkedIn under his name, as you could see right there, Stephen Howard. I thank you for being my guest on Global TV and this special edition promoting Global HR News. Thank you. Please come back.
Thank you. Good luck with the magazine. I miss those old glossy magazines like Global HR News and Life magazine. So well done, Ed.
Well, this one will be online and very glossy. Take care.
Thank you.